Hello, Crystal here. Welcome to another video with the Interactive Immersive HQ. And this video, I'm going to show you how to make a audio reactive point cloud. There's many different ways to do particles and point clouds in TouchDesigner, but I like to use this method lately because it is less taxing on your computer, especially if you're just working on a laptop. I also shared this method in a previous tutorial before on point clouds transitions, which I will also link in the caption below if you've missed it. But this method, we will do instancing, having a OBJ model in SOPs, into chops, into tops, and then putting that into instancing. And we'll make it audio reactive. This technique can be used for doing some VJ project, or if you just want to make a cool generative animation. So I'm excited to share with you, and let's begin. As always, we'll start with a clean network, and we will start with putting a 3D model. And I have this OBJ of a Roman bust. You can use any 3D model, but this is just one that I had in my folders. I'm not sure where I got this from, but I had it for a while. And after that, I will add a transform. This is something that really kind of depends on your model because some models are bigger and some models are smaller. So I know that this model is actually pretty big and I want to scale this down. But this is a step that you can add afterwards when you notice that this model is bigger or smaller. So I'm going to scale this down to quite small. I'm going to scale it to be 0.01. And after, I will add a sprinkle. The sprinkle, you can already start seeing these little blue dots over here, and we are going to add the number of points. So all the blue dots are points, and then I will have it to be, right now it is 1,000. I want it to be 10,000. So you're going to start seeing the shape a lot more because there's more points. After that, I will add a null, and this null, I'll name it bust SOP. So I know this is a SOP. After this bust to SOP, I will add a SOP to chop. So I'll just add a SOP2. And after SOP2, I will add a null. And I'll just name this bust chop. So I know this is the chop version of this. And then I'm going to make this into a top. So now chop to top over here. And these, I'm going to play with some of these parameters over here. So the top's data to format, I'm going to have it to be RGB. And then image layout, I'm going to have fit to square. So now you see this little square noise looking thing, and mine is about 100. It is 100 by 100 resolution. Your resolution may be different, but just keep a note of the size. And I'm going to add another null. And this null, we'll call it to be bust top. Bust top. Yeah. And once I got this, I will add a geometry comp. In this geometry comp, I'm going to go inside. I'm going to delete this torus and add a sphere because I want spheres. In the sphere, I'll make sure to turn on display flag and the render flag, because if it's not, I won't see it up here, but once I click on this, it is connected. So I know I want this to be very small, and this is something that's also kind of depends on the model you're using. But I thought what I did before is have the radius to be 0.0015 for the X, Y, and Z. It's so small now. And if you really kind of want to see it, it kind of like zooms back in, or you can press the H button and it's usually homes it, but it's so tiny that we don't see it. But it's okay because we're going to have that small sphere to be the points for the sprinkle. So we're going to turn on the instancing, and we're going to just put this bus top over here, and put in RGB. Don't see it, press H. And see what's happening over here. Oop. This is a flat looking bust. See, I messed up over here. So it's GGB. I want this to be RGB, and there you go. Now we see a bust. Play around with it. Now we have a bust. I want to render this out. I'll add a camera, a light, a material. I'll use a constant material, and a rendering top. I'll change this rendering top resolution. I know I want it to be 1000 by 1000. I want it to be a square. So it's a nice resolution if you want to put it on Instagram and then tag the HQ and me. And I'll connect this constant material onto here. So now it is white. We can see it better. I'm first going to have this in the display so I can see what's happening, and I want to play with this camera angle. So I don't want it to be 5. I'm going to zoom it in. And then I'm going to lower the camera. Cool, something like this. Maybe even closer. Great. And let's jazz it up a bit. So right now it's static. It would be kind of nice if this is rotating. So in this rotation Y, I'll add a abs time dot frame. And I want to slow it down a bit. So I'm going to just add or times it by 0.5. Cool. Awesome, awesome. And let's make it kind of more interesting now. Let's make it move a bit. We'll add a noise top. And this noise top, before I said look at the chop to, make sure the size. So mine is 100 by 100. I'm going to change my noise resolution to also be the same, 100 by 100. And what we're going to do is to make this noise top affect this chop to. We're going to first change some of these parameters. I'm going to make this period to be 0, so it's really small. All the way to 0, so it kind of just looks like sand noise. And I will make this exponent bigger, something like 1.5, and have it kind of be moving the whole time. So I'll add abs time dot frame in the TX, slow it down, and I'll times it by 0.01. So it's just very subtle. After the chop to, before the bust top, I will add a displace. And I'm going to hook this noise to the second input. You see something's happening. It's like, rawr. See, this is what's a great way to know what's happening. You can like turn things on and off. So this TX is what's creating this kind of sandy noise on it. Let's lower the displace weight. Displace weight, I just want it to be 0.2 by 0.2. So it's just affecting a bit less. And what we were going to play around with is the amplitude. So you notice if you have the amplitude be 0, it looks normal. And then as you increase it, it kind of affects it more. So we're going to have the audio affect the amplitude. So it'll go between 0 and let's say like 0.5. So this will be happening. And it'll be fun to have more than one type of reaction. So not just the amplitude, but we'll also mess with the camera. We'll have the camera to move the TX. So then it can also go in and out a bit with the audio. So let's make that happen. we'll add a audio file in. This audio file in, when you drop it in, you can't hear it because you need an audio device out. Right now they're in my earphones, so you can't hear it, but I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna change this into just like the Sonar Blackie, which is in the TouchDesigner sample file, which is what I had in the demo in the beginning, which will just go bing, bing, bing. Totally great and not annoying sound. After the audio file in, I'll add an analyze. We're going to just do a very simple audio analysis to do this audio reactive. This is not necessarily the method that I would do all the time. This is just kind of like a quick, fast way to do it, and it gets the job done. So in this analyze, I'm going to change the function to be a maximum. And then I'm going to add a math chop. With math chop, I'm going to combine these channels by adding them. So now you can see that there's only one singular one. And after the math, I'm going to add a rename. I'm going to call this to be audio amp. So I know this is going to affect the amp. Maybe I'll also put noise so I know it's the amp of the noise. Depending on what you're doing, you can add another math after the math to change the range. But I found that I like, maybe we're going to adjust this. We'll see, but maybe I'll just keep this, but have this math just in case. Add a merge after this because we're going to connect more chops into this output. Move this a little bit higher. And I will add a null. Let's call this chop rest. Now let's just hook this into the audio, to the noise amplitude. Just see like what's happening if we like it. Then next I'm gonna add a lag to make it a little bit smoother. This lag, I'll change the lag from 0.1 to be 1. That gives a more noisy, like smoother look. Great. And after this math, I'm gonna start adding what I want for the camera. So having it zoom in and zoom out. I'll add a math chop after the combining math. And the range I want is 0.7 to 0.5. This math, I'm going to change this range from 0.7 to 0.5. I'm going to add a rename. Call this cam zoom. So I know what's doing. I'll add another lag. I'll just copy and paste this and I'll hook this into the merge. Now we'll connect this cam zoom into the camera TZ, and it kind of just does like a very subtle little pop in there. You can see what would happen if we don't have the lag. It's a little bit more jarring. Maybe we'll just decrease this lag a bit. We have it be like 0.5. Yeah, I like that. Great. And one more little kind of chop. Let's jazz it up kind of thing. I want to tilt this a bit. So what if we have like a LFO tilting this? I will add a LFO. And this LFO, I will change this frequency to be 0.1. And this range, the math, change this range from -1 to 1 to be -10 to 10. Voila. And add another rename. And I'll call this Geo Tilt. We don't need a lag since this is pretty constant, just constantly moving, and we will just connect this into the RZ, yeah. Blah, blah, right here. Let me see, it's kind of like a subtle tilt left and tilt right. Lovely. Now let's make this look nicer now. So we'll jazz it up. Well, after this, I'm going to add a null. And I'll call this out. This will be the last node. And I'll add a ramp. This ramp, I want to make sure it's the same resolution. So I'll change this to be 1000 by 1000. And change this ramp type to be circular. Increase this period so it has this gradient. You can have it any color you want, any color in the rainbow in this hue map. But I'll do this kind of like fuchsia pink to purple kind of thing. Yeah. And I'll add a multiply top. And once I hook this, that color is applied. And I'm going to change this display flag to the out one, and it's a little bit too intense. I'm going to lower this pink. You can play around with the phase, get something that's promising. Cool. And then I'll add a background. I'll add another ramp. I'm just copy and paste this ramp and change the vertical to the type to vertical. And I'll have a different color. Do it to be like blue. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this goes. I'll add a over, and I'll have the bust over the ramp. I don't particularly like this, so I'm just make this a bit darker. This is where you get to put your own flair. Cool. And I want to add a little bit of texture, so I'll add a noise. And this noise, make sure it's the same resolution, 1000 by 1000. And I'll change this noise type to be random. And you see it's like all this tiny little noise. And then I will add a level. I'll lower this level to be something small, like 0.2. And add this onto this ramp. So I'll just give a bit more texture onto this ramp. And I'm just do a little, make this a little bit more dynamic by adding a feedback onto the point cloud. I like to just use this feedback tool that's in the palette right here. And I'm going to connect this onto the after the multiply. We have these objects over here. And I'm going to play with this a bit, but I'm going to first leave it. I'm going to add a level. And this level, I think I want to lower this opacity on the post. And add a composite. Connect the multiply back onto it. You can play around with what composite name you want. You could also just do it, add top, but I like to give the option to play with the different operations. And let's just hook this up and see what we got. So this kind of looks brighter, but after levels, I'm going to add a transform, increase this scale a bit. So I'm going to change the scale to be 0.03 to 0.03. So it kind of looks like it's kind of glow, but also these lines in, which I think is pretty cool. You can play around with like lowering the opacity. So yeah. Let's feedback. There we have it. We have this audio reactive bust over here. You can feel free to use any audio you want, but these kind of ranges you'll just have to mess with. But you can also do a audio device in. Audio device in, you can have hello, how make your beautiful voice change this animation, or an instrument also. So I hope you have fun with this tutorial, and if you make something really cool, feel free to share it with us. Share it, tag the Interactive Immersive HQ. You can tag my personal, I'll leave my handle in the caption below, and let us know if you have your own favorite type of point cloud technique, or if you enjoy this point cloud or you hate this point cloud technique. It's okay. You can not use it. So till next time, bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you're serious about taking your TouchDesigner and interactive skills to the next level, I highly recommend you check out the Interactive and Immersive HQ Pro. It's the only educational resource and community of its kind for TouchDesigner and interactive professionals. You can learn more by checking out the link in the description. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and the little bell icon for more awesome free content.